Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the series premiere of The Mist. A very good premiere. Let me first of all tell you, I've never read the book, the Stephen King novel that this is obviously based on. I have seen, the movie adaptation that had Thomas Jane, but that was years ago, and I think I've only seen it once. I have vague little memories here and there about it, but the one thing that I do remember, without spoiling it, is the ending. That's the thing I feel like most people kind of walked away from that movie knowing. But I don't know whether that will translate over to the series or not, because it seems like even the main family dynamic seems different, because from my memory, it seems like the family was a son and a daughter, but it seems like it's only a teenage daughter in this particular case. So whichever, I don't know which one's going to be a closer adaptation. Maybe the show is, just because they have time to feel things out a little bit more. But nonetheless, obviously this premiere is a lot of setup, introducing you to a lot of the characters that you'll kind of get to know. Obviously you have the main family, you have the dad Kevin, the mom Eve, as well as the daughter Alex, and we kind of automatically get introduced to their situation of mom Eve is a little overprotective, to the point, Alex wants to go to a party because she has a huge crush on Jay, and he's like, oh yeah, Jay's the football star, also the son of the sheriff Connor, so it's kind of all around just kind of probably golden boy of the town essentially. And basically she gets assaulted at a party, and it's her friend Adrian brought up something interesting immediately, being yeah, the whole town, they'll turn against you. She's like, who? He's the entire town, because of who Jay is. And immediately happens, you see some people from his team throwing a rock through the house, spray painting horror, just because it's no. It's oh, she's such a slut. She wanted it, but now she's acting like it's rape or something like that, which is such a piece of shit mentality. But it kind of showed you where Adrian, adds more validity to what Adrian says, because the fact of the matter is, he is, I said, the golden boy of the town. It's oh yeah, he's a quarterback. He's he's this honorable young person, and there's no way he would have done that. Which does lead a point in my mind, even the conversation, because he was even talking to his dad, once again the sheriff, and the sheriff's nah, you won't go to jail, you won't spend a day in jail, I promise you that. He's why are you talking to me like I did it, Dad? And his dad didn't really give him much of a response. Because in his head, it's he wants to be oh yeah, of course I'm on your side, son, but on the chance that you did, because also there was a witness to it, that being Adrian. So to him, it's there's the cop side of his brain. It's that looks damaging, but it's doesn't matter, whatever the case may be, I am your son, you are my son, which at the same time shows you kind of what kind of person he is, because it's you kind of put your family first before, doing your job as a cop. Especially in that particular situation, from the very beginning, that speaks volumes of who he is. But at the same time, it also speaks volumes for him to be oh yeah, immediately believing his son is guilty. And because the thing is, I walked away from this episode thinking, just the way Jay was acting, I'm I don't know if he actually did it, because she was drugged, so it could have easily been someone else. And it's just because the only witness to it is Adrian. And immediately in my brain, I'm but that also can put Adrian on the suspect list, because they went out of the way to include a detail where he's no, I'm not just attracted to guys, I'm attracted to girls too. It's not even a gender thing for him. It's personality. As long as the person has an awesome personality, then I'm attracted to them. It's that type of thing. So I think that kind of coincides with the fact of the matter is his upbringing and everything, because it seems obviously his dad has a problem with him, whatever. It's because it seems he has a stern dad. I was because he's asking, can I leave? Can I go? And his mom's your dad doesn't talk to you. Your dad can't hear you when you have makeup on. So it seems a very strict relationship they have there. But whether that's because he has this kind of goth punk look to him, quote unquote, wearing makeup and stuff, or is it because he's, possibly gay? I don't, it seems it could be either or in that particular situation. So, and it seems a situation where it's he has a very passive mom, where she's she sees the situation. Like I said, this is just the first episode. We're just kind of stepping into the middle of a lot of these people's lives. So we don't know 100% of whether it's she's always defending him. But in that particular instance, it seemed no, it's just yeah, how the way your dad is, you should be wearing makeup, your dad won't listen. It seems it's just by now, Adrian, how things work around here, so stop acting like that. Almost that, not saying she's being that aggressive about it, but it seems she's being that passive about it. So we'll kind of have to, I like I say, a lot of this is set up, so we have to slowly kind of break things down. Obviously, I'm focusing heavily on the character aspect because it seems like, obviously, I caught some of the interviews ahead of time before the show premiere, and it's like it seems like that's going to be the heavy focus of this. Like, once again, that played a big part in the movie too. It's just like it's kind of like a human nature type of thing. Like when things go down, it's almost like an apocalypse type of thing where it's like, oh, when shit hits the fan, like people's true nature comes out. It seems like that's automatically like the theme of the show, and like I said, like even to a small degrees, it seems like you're already seeing it come out because right from the beginning, like there's certain aspects, like there's already tension already around places because it's like, hey, like Eve, Alex's mom is like got fired because she was teaching sexual education to the kids. Like it's not within the board gave her probably strict guidelines of like you can cover this and this, but she stepped outside of that, and like parents kind of got in a hissy. One particular mom in particular, and she's like, oh yeah, like the fact of the matter is you want to teach your daughter stuff like that, which I kind of assume kind of alluding to what happened to Alex and everything. It's like almost saying like, oh, that was you teaching your daughter and stuff like that. So because there's even like tension amongst the family too, because it's like, because of this situation, like Kevin and Eve have a fallout. She's like, I told you not to do that, not to let her go to that party. But Kevin was just like, kind of being the cool dad. And it's like, hey man, you go, just don't get drunk. Make sure you take Adrian with you. But the mom was like, no. And like, like, you can see her like, it hurts her because it's like, you went behind my back. I said no. I've always had to be the person that says no, but I always come off looking like the bad guy because you're the cool, awesome dad that gives her whatever she wants type of thing. It seems like that's kind of a family dynamic at this point in time. And for Eve, it's like almost like outright blaming him because it's like, you let her go to the party. This happened because of you. It's like not Alex's fault. Like without saying it in so much words, it's and you see it reflected in the way she's acting and the way and which like you can't blame her. It's like it's a terrible situation and you need to lash out at someone because it's just like, because in her mind she's like, I could have prevented this. Like I did prevent this because for 16 years I've in her mind it's like, I'm just being a protective parent. I'm protecting you because I love you, which Alex kind of looks at it as like, no, you're just controlling me. Same thing for Kevin because he's like, you're not letting her live her life. She's a 16-year-old. She can go out and have parties. Like no one could have seen this coming, but she's like, I did. Now something comes up later on in the conversation where like Alex is like, oh yeah, the entire town knows about you. She's like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, everyone knows that you're a slut. And she slaps Alex because obviously like there was something there because Eve was talking about the fact that it's like, oh, I know like what boys like Jay would do and stuff like that. So immediately my brain goes, and the fact is that she gets labeled a slut in a small town like that. It's like something similar happened to her, didn't it? And I think Kevin knows about it possibly. And the fact of the matter is she's like, probably in her mind is like, you know what happened to me and you know why I'm the way I am. You know why I'm the way I am. Definitely that's something she outright said, but you still went behind my back. So I think it's just a tough situation of like whatever her past is, it makes her very, and Alex's mom, once again, controlling, but it's just her being a protective mom. And Kevin's like, you can't let what happened to you dictate how Alex lives her life. She can't just be afraid of everything around the other corner and stuff like that. So, God, I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. I guess I finally focused on, I mean, because it played a smaller part in the episode, but it still played a part, and it is the mist itself. Now, right from the very beginning, they just kicked it off with killing that dog, Rufus. Blew my mind. I was like, okay, Rufus, all right, Rufus is going to warn you. Oh, he went to miss. I was like, okay, no, he's going to run back out. Nope, Rufus is dead, ripped apart. His head and guts are like on the ground, like his body's like stuck on a tree branch. It's like, man, that sucks, especially for Brian, because it seems like Brian has like an amnesia thing because he had to look in his eyes. I'm Brian. He's looking, okay, you're Rufus. Please tell me you're mine. And it's like, because he seems to have some kind of amnesia thing, especially later on when he's explaining the situation to the sheriff and stuff. He's like, dude, there's something in that mist. It killed my dog, dude. We got to get guns. We got to get ready. There's something in there. It's coming. It's coming. Obviously, he just seems like a screaming lunatic, especially when he wants to grab some guns and stuff like that. So obviously, they didn't listen to him, but once again, like I have vague memories of what happened in the mist, like the movie, but I won't say anything. Like I say, once again, it's been years ago because I swear that movie came out like 2005 or 6, so that's like 11 or 12 years ago at this point. Because like we've seen like things acting differently. Like there is the Lady Natalie. Interestingly enough, is actress's name is slipping me. I've seen it multiple times. I think her name's Frances. I don't remember her last name. I know her particularly from gosh, American Horror Story. She pops up in that pretty frequently. The last one I watched, what fully in its entirety, was Coven. So I don't know if because a lot of the actors in that particular show are recurring. So I don't know if she's popped up in the subsequent ones. Because I've missed like a lot of them at this point in time. Like the three of them now. But that's what I know her from in particular. I definitely remember her from I want to say she might have been in 1, but definitely 2 and 3. But, now, in particular, like to me, I'm looking at her character. I'm thinking, I could be wrong, but I think she might be, there's a more religious lady character from the movie. I think it was Marcia Gay Harden who played that character, if I remember correctly. I could be remembering that wrong, but I think that was her who played that character. I'm thinking this might be her particular character, especially because where she ends up in the episode, she ends up in a church. So either, it might be like in her mind, it's like this is some grand, because it seems like that character storyline was like, this is grand providence. Like, this is like, kind of like wiping the slate clean, we're being tested type of thing. So I don't know if she's a very religious person from the very beginning, or whether it's just being in that church, that being her safe haven, kind of like changes her mind. Maybe she gets surrounded by people who have that same mentality, and it kind of gets put on her too. So I don't know, because it does seem like everyone's particular environment is going to dictate how they handle the situation and how they go about it and everything. At least that's kind of how I'm feeling about the whole thing. So, like I said, that's just me guessing. I don't know if that's that particular character kind of translated into this show or not. It might not, like her storyline might not even play out or work out the same way, but I'm kind of alluding to it. I mean, it seems like she has a very open mind because she's reading all this stuff about, like, ahead of time with her husband about all this stuff that went down. I feel so bad for her husband. Dude, that sucked. Like, a guy was kind of like, are you real? And he's like, just put the gun down and shot her husband. And then, like, he killed himself because the mist does something to you. Because there was also that cop that went into the mist being an idiot and taking photos, like, oh, I'm gonna take this and send it to the mist. So I was like, yep, you're dead. Those bugs started crawling all over him and everything, and it seems like they might be tied to the mist specifically. Once again, like, that's possibly me pulling from like my memory of the movies. I don't remember what the thing in the mist was like. Like, I have a vague memory of what it was like, because I get the feeling like you actually I don't remember if you saw them throughout the movie. I definitely vaguely remember you seeing them at the very end. But from my memory, it seems like they're very different. But it's like these little bugs crawling over you. Considering the fact is those might be like something smaller or something much bigger. Once again, kind of pulling from the movie. And it seems like they might have a controlling effect to you. I mean, granted, they ate out that cop's eye and everything, and he was kind of grabbing onto Kevin and stuff from the while they were at the sheriff's. So whether that was him just kind of in pain and stuff, grabbing for help, or whether he was actually attacking Kevin, it's kind of hard to say. It seemed like he might have been attacking Kevin. I was like, I kind of felt bad for him because that lady, I think her name's Mia, ended up shooting him and everything. So, but it seems like that, if that's the case, that seemed like it might have been a mind control thing. Or once again, maybe he just in so much pain, he was just reaching out, and maybe he was just inadvertently attacking Kevin because of that. So, I don't know. It's definitely a situation of like, that guy that killed Natalie's husband makes you wonder, like, does the mist show you or make you hear things for him to be like, are you real? So, I mean, who's to say how long that guy had been roaming around in the mist? There's even a guy that Alex had come across out in the parking lot of the mall who had his neck snapped. I mean, his neck snapped backwards. I think that might be the same dude who kind of bumped into her when she was getting out the car and everything. Might have been. I kind of missed it. But I think that might have been the same dude. And it's like, it's from the very beginning, it's brutal. I mean, even considering all that, plus you had like that lady who's like, oh yeah, the fact of the matter is, oh, the girl who cried rape is telling me like to go out there or something out there. Like, I'm gonna believe you. You should have, because the moment she went out there, she slammed herself against, like a couple seconds later, slams against the glass, bottom jaw ripped off. I was like, ooh, was not expecting it. Because I've never watched a lot of Spike, so I don't know like how far they go with some stuff. It seems like they go pretty far in that regard. So it's like, man, that was some like, that was rough looking, and then it gets pulled away. Can only assume her son got killed too. And the sad thing is, when you actually think about it, her son was just kind of like, I kind of get the feeling like he was probably just an extra or something, because he had no dialogue whatsoever. It's just like he walked in the mist, never saw what happened to him. Not unless we see him kind of pop up later on. So, like I said, it's kind of interesting. like I say, are getting used to kind of people's character and showing you where they are, because you saw, once again, kind of going to show you who Connor's character is. Once again, it's probably a situation above, like I said, putting his family above his job, in the sense of like, he was supposed to wait for Kevin to get, Adrian, but it's like he didn't wait. He's like, I waited long enough. I'm getting creeped out here. Drives away. So maybe that was him doing self-preservation. Maybe he was like, no, I'm worried about my family. But then again, you play the flip side of it. It's like Kevin is worried about his family, and yet he let Brian, and once again, I think her name is Mia, out the sales. I'm definitely interested to see like how that whole dynamic will play out, because like I said, we got their story, so obviously their stories are going to play some part in all of this, because Mia was trying to get some kind of money that she had gotten from that guy. And I was trying to remember where I knew that actor from, and it's like, I knew him from season 1 of Hemlock Grove. He was kind of the crazy guy that Roman and had bumped into, and Norman was kind of like analyzing, like he was kind of connected to hold, without going too deeply into Hemlock Grove. He was in the first season of Hemlock Grove. I think he's popped up in other stuff too, but I think that's immediately where my brain recognizes it from. Nevertheless, I'm guessing like she's going to end up bumping into him, but like she ended up stealing some money or something. And it's a lady place. Her name was Ann Lambert. And she's like, she was running, kind of trying to get away from the cops and everything. And she came across her grave, and she's like, I'm not sorry. So, because they were saying like Miss Lambert had a daughter that no one's been able to track down. So I'm assuming that's her, because she's kind of caught up in some messed up situation. It seems like she does drugs. She was getting beat up at the beginning, and she stabbed a dude with a pitchfork. I mean, he was hurting her because he was trying to get something from her. So I assume it's that money, or maybe it's a situation where like she was supposed to give them some drugs or something, or some money, or whatever the case. Maybe she owed them something, or either case, she took something from them, whether it's some money or not. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. It also looked like there was a passport. That was kind of her like get out of jail free card. Like, the fact of the matter is, I don't think Miss Lambert was someone that was just nobody to her, just a friend. Because she's like, the moment it's like, oh, who are you to her? It's like just a friend. So it's like you can tell she's fine. So I'm assuming that's Miss Lambert's daughter. So it's like maybe she kicked her out and whatever, and it's like, oh, I'm not sorry that you're dead, because you weren't there for me. You kicked me out, or you didn't want to help me out, and that's why I'm in this particular situation or something. Maybe that's how she feels about it. Plus, finding out more about Brian's situation, like why was he out in the middle of the woods? Why did he have amnesia? Like, I'm sure all those storylines are going to converge, but I'm very interested. I mean, like I said from the beginning, this is a very human nature type of thing. So I'm sure it's like you got to deal with the outside threat, but at the same time have to deal with the inside threat, that being humans and everything. You also have like Alex being stuck in a mall with Jay, and that's just, it's from the very beginning, they've set it off to be a very interesting setup. Like I said, it's very character heavy, of like introducing you to these the particular main characters, and letting things kind of be known. I mean, especially it's definitely going to be interesting, considering the fact of the matter is of how small of a town it is, and Alex's situation, and possibly Eve's reputation, being surrounded in a mall by people who know them and everything. It's like, in moments like this, it feels like that shouldn't matter, but as we saw, it does to some people. So whether that can be a continuous thing or not, I don't know. I'm very interested to continue watching and see how everything plays out. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.